Welcome back to the Safe Room. I am your host, the President Shawn Williams. Guys, we're back with another episode. From the timeline, you probably think I've been dropping episodes every week, but I haven't recorded an episode in about 2 weeks now. You know, I was kind of prepping before, but now I'm back to it, and today, it's the debut of our new series, Playback. I'm so excited to be debuting this new series with you guys, and I'm excited to have this special guest. This is someone I actually met through the YCEO Program for Business in the Streets. We're both taking it right now, and I think both of us can testify it's been an amazing experience. And I told him about the series, and he's like, yo, like, get me on the podcast, bro. Like, let's talk some music. So today, I got my man, Darryl. Darryl, what's going on?
Yo, what's happening? Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm glad to be on the podcast. Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you through the program. Definitely one of the more bright personalities, so easy to talk to and all that good stuff. So why not hop on?
I appreciate that. I especially appreciate the bright personality. Like, damn, like you're making me blush. Actually, what the heck?
Hey man, that's what you need in this business.
Yo, man, that's what's up, man. The love, guys, that's what we need. All of us need to just show that peace and love to each other. Like, why are we fighting? Why are we trying to, like, fight this person on, like, oh, I'm trying to be better than them? Like, yo, we're all trying to get to the same road.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. So, Darryl, thank you for coming on. Appreciate your time because we got a lot to talk about. So, before we get into that, I just want to give a little background. So, I know I said this is the debut of the Playback series, but technically it's not. I kind of lied. I've done this type of episode in the past, but it was never really signified. It was never something that was finalized or a stable until, you know, I came to the thought of actually doing something like this. I listened to you guys, my listeners, on do you want to hear more music conversations? You guys said yes, so I said, okay, you know what? Let's do it. Let's create Playback, make it a stable on the podcast, and now we're here. And like, Darryl, I'm really excited to have you on. I know you said before we started recording that you are a music lover, man.
Yes, sir. I grew up listening to a lot of old school like Motown beats. So literally anything going back to like the 60s or even the 50s, I grew up on all that.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Damn.
Oh yeah. My older brother, he was into Motown and Kanye. My oldest brother.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was a little bit of everything.
Okay, cool, man. That's really dope. That's really dope. Usually when I confront people with music, they're just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm a 90s baby, 80s. And just like, all right, it's cool. But like when I hear like, oh, like 50s and 60s, I'm like, oh, we're going way back. We're going way back.
Yeah, man. I got to the point where I could to a decent level of accuracy be able to identify, like if you played a random pop song or popular culture song from any of those decades up until now, I could probably tell you which decade it was in. That's just how much people had me baptized in music.
Well, that's really great to hear. That's really great to hear. And I know you mentioned that your older brother listened to Motown and Kanye, and trust me, we gonna get to Kanye in a bit.
Yep.
We are, but before we get started on that, guys, you know what time it is. We're opening up with our segment, the hot seat. Darryl, I got 4 questions for you. Just
Okay.
answer them to your best abilities. No pressure. Just to kind of open up the floodgates. All right.
Let's go.
So outside of the work that you do, and I know, like, you know, you do a lot. Describe yourself in one sentence.
Describe myself in one sentence. Okay. I think no, not I think. I'm definitely somebody who appreciates the genuine. What do
Mmm.
I mean by the genuine? I look for authentic and just organic experiences with people.
Yes. Yes, man. That's beautiful. No, for real, I'm the same person. It's just like, look, we can get along if it's like, even if you're not being yourself, it's like, all right, cool, but like I probably won't hang with you that much compared to someone that's like, yo, like you're being authentic, you're not trying to like put on a show for the crowd or for anyone else. You're just being yourself. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I feel like it goes beyond. It's like when the ego between people kind of breaks down, you get a lot of really beautiful interactions. So I live for those moments.
Yeah, man, that's really great to hear. All right, that was a great start. Great start already. Okay, all right, I'm loving this vibe. So going on to the second question, and this one might be a little bit more difficult because this question could be subjective or like it might be hard to some people. But who is your favorite artist that you're listening to right now?
Oh man. All right, now you done throw me some. Okay. All right, we'll figure this out. So when it comes to me, right now, the type of music I'm on right now is definitely going to be the Afro beats section. Like that's my favorite genre at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to bounce back and forth between favorites. So right now I'm gonna go with who's my favorite right now. I'm really liking Ruger.
Okay.
He's I think he's actually I'm not even going to say where he's from. He's an African artist that has been blowing up, and everything he's dropped I have appreciated. So if you're into Afro beats and you've never heard of Ruger, pull up his stuff. Real
All
fire.
right, that's dope. Hey, you might have to like send me some music for real. I'm trying to like venture more into Afro. I used to listen to Afro music, but like I feel like I've just been more into like the R&B. You know, that's kind of like my lane. You know, so hey, man.
It's fairly recent for me. Like it was back in like November of last year when I really started listening to it hardcore, and that's when I really like got into it. So it's a fairly recent vibe for me.
Yeah, man. Hey, yo, like I did want to ask, like, you know, when you got back to that, was there like some type of I wouldn't want to say shame because I know when some people like, oh, you're not listening to this amount of music, bro. Like, what's wrong with you? It's like, bro, like it just kind of comes random to me. Like maybe I'll be feeling this for a long, long time, and then I'll tell myself, you know what? Let me finally get into this. Because listen, I'm the same thing, bro. Like I've tried listening to Afro music. I don't know. I feel like I just never have the time to.
It's hard for me. It was hard for me to even get into Afro beats. Like ever since Davido dropped with "If," I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you know that one.
Yeah.
That one, yeah. Ever since that one dropped, like I knew people were going insane, but I couldn't really comprehend the music, like the way that the beats are set up and the structure is just so foreign to what I grew up listening to. So I couldn't even comprehend it until like last year.
Right.
Like that, yeah, it's just one of those things where I feel like when I find a type of music that I'm into, I just gradually fall into it. Like I don't plan on, like when I got into house or when I got into like disco, I never planned on it. It's just something that popped up and I found myself diving into a rabbit hole.
Right, I feel you, bro. Hey, yo, again, like, there's just certain genres that you kind of find, you kind of pick up, and you're just like, yo, I just have this weird obsession for a short term. Like, just like, hey, let me just,
Yeah.
like, let me listen to this. Like, for me, at one point, it was rock music. I was like, what? Where did this come from?
Listen, listen. For those of you who don't know, my name is the Recovering Elitist on YouTube. I run an anime page on YouTube right now. I bump my anime J Rock openings all day on repeat. Okay, that's my vibe too. you know.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. Hey, listen, everyone has a vibe, but yeah, definitely like any Afro artists that you're listening to right now, you'll send them my way. Send them my way.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you some. I'm gonna send you some. They honestly, it's like a new artist every week.
Hey, perfect. You know, I'm trying to like listen to like, you know, more Afro music. I know everyone's been like hammering me like, "Yo, have you listened to the Burner Boy album?" I'm like, "Bro, outside of Last, I don't know anything else." So like
Don't kill me.
I need to do better.
We gonna help you out. We gonna help you out.
I appreciate it. So, the third question is an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Okay, an interesting fact that I rarely share. Okay. Um, I never, in my wildest dreams, would have ever like if you asked me 5 months ago, if entrepreneurship was something that I desired or something that I thought I was built for, I would have told you no.
Mhm.
I wouldn't up until maybe like March, April. I would have told you that there is not a single entrepreneurial ounce of spirit in me. I would
Right.
never have been able to. I don't think I would ever have the courage or the know-how to do anything on my own.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's interesting because you know what? I feel like I'm the same too. Like for real, like it was not probably until like June or July I started to like think about it because I told myself, you know what, I want to like have my own studio for like recording podcasts or hosting episodes and stuff like that. Like that's cool, but I never really took in the whole entrepreneurship aspect of things. I just thought like, oh, like I'll just do it and it'll be fine. But there's so much into it in terms of like how you market yourself, your business idea,
Mm-hmm.
getting validation, the actual planning and everything. So hey, dude, like, yo, that's very interesting because I feel like I share that same sentiment.
It's legit, man. Like the way that like people who got into entrepreneurship or people who were their own bosses would talk about it or talk about their attitudes or their drive or did not sound like me in any way, shape, or form. Like the opposite of who I am,
Right.
which is crazy.
Yeah, man, that's absolutely crazy. But yeah, that's really interesting for sure, man, for sure. So the last question to wrap up this segment is, what is your personal safe room?
My personal safe room, I am there right now. My personal safe room is my office. It is my recording studio. It is my production center. It is my bedroom.
Mm.
That is my safe room. I get all my is when they say this is where the magic happens. It literally this is where all the stuff happens.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere. First, it's in the bedroom, then maybe you move on to the living room, and then maybe you start renting out space, and then eventually it's like, I got my own studio.
Exactly. Hey, we working. We working. I got a lot of plans now.
Hey, yeah, bro. Hey, listen, we're here to support you, bro. Any plans you have, like, let us know, and like, I will let people know, like, yo, go check out Darryl, the Recovering Elitist. Yo, go check him out.
Appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, that kind of wraps up, the hot seat segment. Yeah, just very simple, cause now we're about to get into the meat and potatoes, guys. Cause,
All right, let's do this.
okay,
Let's
so
let's pack them up.
right. So like I said, guys, I put a poll up on my IG story, and I asked what you guys want to hear. So there was four options. There was the Kanye West White Lives Matter T-shirt. There was the BET Hip Hop Awards. There was the conversation around is R&B dead, and the last one was an album review. Any album that you guys wanted us to kind of cover, and we could have went through that. And there was two choices that kind of stood out from the rest. I think you have an idea of one of the two, but I will just say the first one that we'll get to on later, which is R&B dead. So Darryl and I we're gonna go into that, share our personal opinions around that. But obviously, the more popular choice was the whole Kanye West debacle. I mean, Darryl, I mean, I'm gonna leave this up to you because I have a lot to say. I want to give you the stage because, bro,
All right. Let me just get
you have
myself
to
ready.
stretch it out a bit.
Listen. I've been thinking about this for a great deal of time, and because I think it's that we've come to a point where we can now analyze Kanye's patterns of behavior,
Right.
and a lot of the things that he does, like he is. If we can keep it real for a quick second, he is the king clout chaser of all time.
Yeah, that's a
In
fact.
my personal opinion, he is the king clout. There's nobody who can capitalize quite like Kanye. Maybe the Kardashians, but I'm not gonna go too far into that. But it's crazy because all of the things that he does is exclusively for attention, and he loves weaponizing his fans' emotions. And it's like, at what point are we going to stop allowing him to weaponize our safety, our perception in the public eye? Like, he's literally using race as the racial tensions of the day as a tool to leverage his own products. And I don't know
Mm.
anything that is more repulsive than that in this current age, considering what we're going through at this moment.
Wow. Okay, so I felt like that answer was like the most exquisite form, like the most exquisite answer you possibly gave. Because I was thinking just like this was my standpoint, guys. I literally had 4 words to think about this.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I do not care, and let me elaborate on that. Yes, I understand what the shirt represents and what this man was doing. He was at a fashion show, and like I think because all the, because I think it was the children that were taking part in the fashion show, and there was no white children. I don't know how he could even kind of perceive that ahead of time. I don't know if he knew that was gonna happen. I'm assuming because it's not like the man actually pulled up and like, oh, all of a sudden he's like, hey, you'll get my designer on standby, make this shirt. Like, no. But
Word.
what I do mean by I do not care, I think it's what you kind of said, Darryl. It's just like the way he's been able to, weaponize and manipulate certain audience and their emotions and like their feelings in terms of what he does for his own validation to like boost his own way. I just anything he does right now, it's just kind of like I shrug. It's just like okay, it's nothing new. It's just like I don't have enough ounce to really go at it because like the more I do it, Kanye's not gonna be looking at me like oh like actually let's sit down. It's just like bro, like I know I'm doing good. You can complain and rant all you want. Like this is just that's just how it's gonna be. So it's come to the point where I just lack the amount of enthusiasm to keep tackling this over and over again. Because this isn't new. We've seen Kanye go on a whole slew of these type of situations. But the question becomes every single time, like, what is really different from the previous one?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you on that too. And I mean, what that tells me is that the boy who's cried wolf is starting to cry his last cry. You know what I'm saying? People are starting to lose their ability to be shocked by his actions, which is the point of what he's doing. And you can tell because he did it. He did what he did with a photo op with Candace Owens, who is a known conservative grifter. So it's like, all right. It's like you know what you're not only do you know what you're doing, you're willing to help the others, you're willing to help a certain crowd of people who are known to be antagonistic for the purpose of like it's getting to a really like what are you doing kind of place.
Right. Exactly. And like it really makes you think about like Kanye and like him outside the music. It's just like we know he's like very troublesome and again with the way he presents himself or how he symbolizes with his peers or his fan base. People have a lot of skepticism in terms of like, yo, like we don't know if Kanye's actually trolling. Some people said like this might be a condition that he has. So like that's where like health comes into play and that could be such a tricky field to dive in terms of conversation. But what I'm also looking at is this. How much times before we keep seeing this over and over again that this takes a toll on his musical legacy? I understand that what he's doing is not music related, but for example, if we're coming up right now off the top of the joint, like a top 20 rappers of all time, does Kanye's actions somehow kind of get tied into the mix where like, I don't know if I can put him top 20 because of all the stupid shit he's been doing.
I think it feeds into sorry, I'm not sure if you finished.
No, I was done. I was done.
Yeah. Like I don't think it I think it does feed into a lot of his musical decisions, but I don't think I don't think it's as plain or as like direct as people think. So the way that I think about it is Kanye has been an innovator of all times. So
Right?
when it came to first with his first few albums, it was the samples, King of Samples. Those first 2 albums, the pinnacle of sample hip hop, in my personal opinion. It
Right.
doesn't get much better than that. And then he flipped the script, and then he reinvented the wheel by dropping Graduation, which changed the way hip hop tracks were made as a whole forever, with the whole 808s and a lot of the instrumental choices. and sound and electronic choices that he made.
Yeah.
That yeah, that's like that literally started that wave.
And like just to cut you off for a bit, like even 808s and Heartbreak, like the whole
Word.
definition of that. But yeah, continue.
No, that's exactly it. And he just continued that pattern. Like he has this, if you listen to a lot of his interviews and the way that he talks, he has this idea that like he feels a certain, because of his success, he now feels that he has a certain responsibility to change the world.
Mm, that's true.
So it's kind of like he allowed it. This is just like from an outsider, as a fan who's followed his work for years looking in, it seems like he got a little too addicted to that, or a little too attached to that whole idea of reinventing the wheel. Like, you need, like, the idea that you always need to be innovating or doing something that pushes the boundary in order to sit atop the throne. But I feel like that attitude is what is making it more difficult for me as a fan to see him as a great today.
Yeah, because like I'm even thinking to myself, because you mentioned like he's trying to reinvent the wheel and change the world. But I'm also thinking that in the hindsight of just like how much does that just do to your mentality, just how you think moving forward? Because like you could say it's like King's madness in a way, where it's just like, bro, I get it. Like that's why you look at certain artists like Drake. Some people have the real assumption that Drake has to keep doing these new things to keep doing it because like he pioneered, or like a lot of people are motivated or influenced from his style. Like when he dropped Take Care, like singing and rapping, that was not a thing. Like really as
Word.
popularly
Hmm.
heavy in terms like in the 2010s. Now it's just like, okay, now I see a lot of people doing that now. It's like Drake's thinking himself like, yo, what could I do next? Like what else? That's why at one point he was venturing with Afro beats. Then he's now moving to dance. Like now it's like, oh, where's he going next? He's gonna do like reggae, but it's just like that constant way of just like I gotta reinvent the wheel. Like with the difference between Drake and Kanye is just like I don't see Drake trying to do that in a, whether it's in a political field or trying to like step out of the music box and try to and like do such. Whereas Kanye, there's nothing wrong with what he's doing. It's just I think the approach to it is just like, bro. I mean, come on, White Lives Matter. What the hell were you thinking, for real?
But that's the thing. Like, it's like that whole rant Van Jones went on. I don't think he's thinking. I think he's just chasing that revolutionary, like that quote unquote revolutionary moment. And I think he's a little like too caught up into his own hype to realize that, you know, you're not that special. You know what I mean? Like, you're just a person like
Bro,
the rest of
like
us.
you're human. Like again, like this man likes to. And I know a lot of rappers do this today, but even Kanye like to refer to himself as a god, and just like hearing stuff like that just makes me cringe. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Like it's
And I understand, like, I get it, like that sense of I can do anything, I can do everything, nobody can stop me. And like that sense of confidence is important, especially when you're independent. But there's a line between confidence and, whatever Kanye's got going on. Yeah, so I mean, that's just where I'm at on it.
no, for real, man. Like again, I didn't even want to go over this. I threw this up on IG, and I felt like it was. I feel like I was not doing a service if I didn't throw the topic out, but I was also praying like, please don't pick this, guys. Like, I don't want to go over this. I mean, again, I don't care, and I think it's because of everything we've said right now, Darryl. It's just like we know how this works. We've seen it. There's sample size. There's the evidence. It's been laid out. So, and again, I think now it becomes of what do Kanye's peers think? What do other celebrities think? Because I feel like that's where, if there's going to be actual things to be addressed, let's be real. The fan base, no matter how much we can come by as the masses, Kanye ain't gonna listen to us. He won't give a shit. Or more importantly, he won't respond or have that much of a will to engage with us. But if it's coming from someone else, who probably has as much money or as much power, as much recognition in whether it's in the entertainment business or music business, period. That's where Kanye is gonna be like, oh, is that what you think? For real? Like,
I get you. It's just when it comes to Kanye, I don't think anybody is going to hold as much authority in his mind other than Kanye. Like I genuinely don't believe that anybody has the ability to speak on a level that will force Kanye to see that person as an equal or somebody with advice that he should listen to.
that's true. I feel that too. I feel you. I just think that like it's just again I don't want to keep draining out more and more of this where it's just like, oh, it's a new Kanye story and oh this and that, and it's just kind of like, bro, why are we having so much drama in the music business and not even related to music in general? It's musicians diving into other things that's getting them all the buzz and the talk. And again, I understand what you totally mean, Darryl. Just like from
No, I agree.
like some people, they're gonna have control and they're like they know exactly like, hey, I know how to handle the situation, and more importantly, like it's just no one's really going to address it because like I'm the one that's telling the narrative. I think a big example as well, the baby, like
Hmm.
look at the amount of hate this man has got over the last year and a half, and like this man is still kind of chilling. He's still chilling, like yo, like I still got my people, and like more importantly, I'm still doing good, and like
Well, he
yeah.
still got his money for now.
Hey, I mean, did you see those album sales for his Baby on Baby 2?
Poo poo doo doo water. Yes.
It's not looking. And guys, this is coming. I'll put this into perspective. Chris Brown, someone who I respect as an artist, okay. His recent album did about 330,000, 330K, which to most standpoints today is not as good.
Hmm.
And like
Yeah. Poor numbers for Chris.
for Chris, and usually for any top tier artist, right? The baby
Hmm.
at one point was one of the biggest artists in rap. And his fall from grace to only getting 17K is crazy.
I'm not sure. Like I don't recall another fall off that's been this bad.
Yeah.
I, there probably have been, but this is gonna stick out for a while. And I mean, I think that's what it comes down to because, like, yeah, the issues pop up constantly, but I think part of it is going through the motions so that when people do this stuff again later down the road, we're dissented, like we're not interested. Like with the clout chasing rappers from the SoundCloud era, we went through the motions, and now look at where they at.
Yeah.
So like I mean, let him exhaust his social currency is kind of where I stand on it. Like allow him. He's got the money. Let him exhaust his social currency with us. Let him tarnish his legacy.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just one of those conversations where it has to be addressed, but at the same time, it's just we as the
Very
people,
tiring.
we're getting tired talking about it because I think we can all agree. Some of us may care, and if you care, I'm gonna leave that to you. Some of us don't care, but we feel like if we don't address it, there's gonna be people online that's gonna take everything out of context and be like, "Oh, what was wrong with what Kanye did?" Like, I understand y'all were doing all lives matter and all this back then. It's just like this is why I don't want to keep reforming and like educating you every single time because like, bro, you know better than this.
Yeah. It just makes it difficult for us when the normal people who have to deal with these with all the regular things in life. We don't get to go back to Calabasas when the day's over. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Facts. Nah, like yeah. Nah, I'm wrapping this conversation. I'm wrapping this section apart because I don't want to keep going and going. I want to move
Go
on.
ahead. Yes,
Um,
pack them up.
yes. Let's just put it away, leave it out for another time. But we can go into our intermission, and you actually brought up something really interesting before we started recording, Darryl. So maybe you want to share that right now.
Yeah. I was just really interested in what you had to think or what you had to say rather as it pertains to DJ Academic's comments regarding the old heads. So just to bring everybody up to speed, There was a little clip that was going around of DJ Academics talking about how the old heads are operating and how they're dusty and ain't got no money. Why are y'all listening to them and all this good stuff? And which basically got a whole bunch of a lot of the older heads like LL Cool J and a lot of a lot of like super poppin' older school OGs to come out and be like, yo, we created this, but when we created this, there was nothing to get money off of, and greatness does not equate to money value. So just because you see some of these older heads without the money, don't necessarily mean that they have not contributed greatly to the culture.
Right.
Now, Act came back and said, "Hold up, now, y'all taking me out of context."
I'm,
Plot twist.
I mean, what does he mean by out of context? I mean,
So what he was actually saying is that it's a lot of what he was referring to is a lot of the older heads who are clowning these younger artists who are getting into these deals that are messing with them and draining them out their money, or they're just not very supportive of the new generation in general, despite the fact that a lot of these older heads who have a lot of things to say came up under horrible 360 deals and no longer have any dollars to their name. So he's more addressing the hypocrisy of a lot of the older heads who don't have anything to their name, who are clowning on these younger folks who are getting it.
So what I'm trying to like really unpack for this has to do with like, because you mentioned there's some rappers today, like current rappers, get into 360 deals, sign into these record labels, and like the older heads, because like they're not really having the same status as these current rappers in terms of like what I just said, the deals, the contracts, the record. Is that what Academics is getting by?
He's more so addressing the fact that like he's not so much saying that because they ain't got no money they are nothing in hip hop. He's talking about the people who don't have any money because of horrible deals and because they didn't spend their money right, who are clowning on younger rappers coming up who are getting it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So first off, this is an L take from Academics. I'm sorry, bro. First things first. You're gonna complain because these rappers did not, like the old heads did not get better deals. We have to really put into perspective. Those were different times. And since you want to mention the LL Cool J's, do you really think they were getting the types of deals, especially the lucrative money that they got in that economy compared today? And this is coming from like the economy today is still shit. It's still shit, but you will still find ways to get that financial bag compared back to then. That's number one. And number two, don't forget, at one point hip hop it was rebellious. Like back in the day, people were bumping hip hop and rap as like that was the mecca or like that was the genre. It was not. It was rebellious in a way where like people they had to listen to it and just like it sparked different volume. It sparked different audiences in different ways. So it wasn't as big as it was like today. And like since we want to talk about like oh like you're clowning all these people like for like the bad music and everything, but like look at them, they got these 360 deals. Well, yeah, but these current rappers they don't have financial literacy.
Well, that's exact. Well, hold on now. I'm gonna throw a wrench right up in there
Okay.
because this is it. That's what you're saying now is actually sounding like what Academics was actually saying, because he says, and I quote, "I was talking about passing on game, educating the next generation rather than criticizing them."
So is that what he's saying?
That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the dusty rappers who are clowning the younger rappers, despite the fact that they could be teaching them and giving them game.
Okay. So I hear what you're saying, but if it's, I mean, I hear what you're saying and
I
what
understand. I
Academics.
don't want to agree with Academics either.
I'm not even agreeing with Academics. Here's my drift. Yes, there are some like old heads that could be taking the time to like let these younger rappers know about the rap game, the financial literacy, understanding that what you get in deals, how much you get in revenues and cuts and split. I get that. But at the same time, I feel like it's also these record labels as well. Like they know that like these young bloods, they're not gonna actually look over the the contractual things. Like they're just ready to get in the studio, make the money, and that's it. So it's like I hear what academics is saying, but at the same time, you can't really expect all these old heads to just sit down with every young star. And again, you can't reach to every young star. Like who are we talking about young? But are we talking like top tier, like the current rapper, like the little babies and stuff like that? But I'm assuming not. It's probably one of the more like C tier, like D tier rappers. I need context to that. So I feel like I hear what he's saying, but at the same time, like you can't expect every old head to just become like a guidance counselor. Like, oh, this is what you do when you get like, bro. You have to educate yourself. I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't
I
know,
might be sounding a little harsh,
man.
but I'm like, bro.
I don't know, man. Look, this is the way I see it. In an industry that is inherently predatory,
Mm-hmm.
where you typically learn by making mistakes and failing before you understand what's going on, typically losing tons and tons of money in the process.
Right.
I think that mentorship is more than important in this industry. It's essential.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily the record label's incentive to provide that to their artists. At least that's how I think they see
Okay.
it.
So yeah. No. I think what I'm trying to say, and like, I don't want to make it seem like I got it confused. I am not literally saying get like executives to legit sit down, but I feel like if there's just some way, again, if it's through some type of contractual paperwork, or like again, like when you're actually talking with the artist, just like again, maybe just look this over, like maybe have a meeting or something, a consultation. Like, again, I know record companies already go through a lot having to manage a load of artists and deal with the whole revenue stream and how everything works. But again, here's the thing too. There are still some old heads that may be doing music now. And yet, again, the situation they grew up with, it was even tougher to like even get that type of financial bag, and like somehow still they found ways. And I think it's again, it's applying yourself. So like maybe if it's something where academics is right to some extent, I don't want to say it, but like maybe to some
Listen,
extent.
don't worry.
But I think it's more than just like that's the only avenue. Maybe there's like different avenues that need to come together.
I agree. Me personally, I think it goes both ways because, like, I would like to see a lot more conversations like J. Cole had with Lil Pump, but we also see how that conversation with J. Cole and Lil Pump went. So, I mean, it's important to have, but you just need like both sides to actually care. And I think you and I can both agree that when we were both 19, certain pieces of information would not fit into our thick skulls.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, I think Ack is a little too soft on some younger artists because a lot of them don't actively want that guidance even when it is offered to them.
Mm-hmm. I think yeah, everyone goes through that phase. Eventually, it's probably won't be until another 5 years or like 6 years it hits them, and it's like, oh shit, like yeah, that thing academic said, or like that thing that old head said, like starting to resonate with me a bit. But, you know, just like it takes time. Um, no, but that's a really good conversation for real. I feel like that definitely needs a lot of time to like elaborate and hear a lot of other opinions as well. So no, Darryl, thank you for sharing that, man.
Well, I mean, I noticed once people had the context confused that it would definitely be an interesting discussion because it's like, all right, well, let's figure this out then.
Yeah, yeah. And guys, just to let you know, I'm not saying I agree 100%. There's bits I take from academics. Like, okay, I hear you, but like I think you're trying to like centralize your own thoughts into like, okay, this is it. Like, nah, like there's other
Like I
avenues.
said, I think he's a little too generous to the younger artists
Right,
too.
right, exactly. But nah, like that is a definitely an interesting conversation. Maybe something we bring up on another playback series episode. So who knows? Okay. So kind of getting back to the flow of things, I want to talk about R&B. Now, R&B has a very, very deep history. And we all know, like, again, whether you're old school, new school, it doesn't really matter. But Diddy, I don't know if it was a couple weeks ago, maybe close to a month ago, he had some comments saying that R&B is dead. Or like I guess I might be paraphrased, but like R&B is dead, or like there's not one artist right now that's like really bringing out the soul of R&B, and that not only sparked a lot of controversy through the fans, a lot of R&B artists themselves were going after Diddy. I think there was even points where Diddy was inviting them on like his IG live to have the conversation. So yeah, it's definitely something that you guys want to hear, and we definitely wanted to talk about as well. So again, Darryl, I'm just gonna open up, bro. Just what was your initial reaction to hearing that statement from Diddy?
Sounds like Diddy don't listen to much R&B.
Hey
Not
man.
that, not for real. Because did Division not have the entire female population of North America singing an F Boy anthem a couple months ago?
Okay.
Like I'm confused. I'm confused. Like it's happening right around us.
Mm. It's interesting you brought Division. I was like, damn, I'm okay. Like Division, like yeah. I feel you. I feel you, bro. There's just a lot to unpack from there. I just feel like again, when you are in a certain genre, people recognize you for that as a musician. I don't think
Hmm.
it's like you discredit other genres. I don't think that's the case, but I think you just undermine how much like impact that genre may have. So, like, I think yeah, again for Diddy, it was for him it was hip hop and rap, and I guess the only thing the man knew close to R&B was Fate Evans, I guess, and
Look, with that man's graveyard of failed R&B careers, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't. I'm not interested. What happened to all your little projects, Diddy? Where are they?
this guy's going
Where
after
are
his whole
those?
discography. What the heck?
Listen, go to any comment section on the topic and it's a question that is popping.
That's true.
I promise.
Nah, that's true because like, and again, like I think when he said R&B is dead, it's just like the statement's just it's so vague. Like what do you mean dead? Like it's just non-existent? Do you mean like it doesn't have the same type of soul compared to like a certain era of R&B? Like he was not clear when he said that. So it wasn't even for me the fact that he said it. It's just the lack of
Yeah, like what do you
clarity.
mean? Yeah, like what is dead to you? I get what you're saying.
Like this dead is like deceased. Like you are not like from like humans or like you are not living. You have like are gone from this
That
earth.
like it's not happening anymore. Just
Yeah.
cease to exist.
Yeah. Like you're on limited time, basically.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like I don't get it.
Yeah,
We were just celebrating Hot Boy Summer a couple weeks ago to Division.
like I again I don't understand because like now it opens up the conversation like okay, do we have to like go into this generation? Are we talking about the 80s and the 90s, which I feel is not even a discussion? I mean, if you know that period, the 80s and 90s, R&B was the genre of that time.
Word.
Like, so are we going way back, like in the 60s, like 70s? It's just like again, I'm so lost. And again, the fact that some artists hopped on Diddy's live, I think Summer Walker was one of them. She hopped on and just like she was trying to like understand and listen, but then like again, if I'm one of those artists, I'm looking Diddy in the face like, bro, you need to shut the hell up, bro.
Listen, look, I don't really see, like you were saying, it's hard to really kind of grasp onto the idea he's even trying to put out so that we can talk about it because it's just so vague. Like even when you talk about the different eras, like but even when you look at the different decades, R&B does not sound the same each decade. It's a different vibe that we tend to gravitate towards. And like I was saying before the show started, I feel like R&B as like a genre has a lot more competition now than it did before, with the increasing popularity of Afro beats and Amapiano. Like a lot more African sounds are satisfying that R&B feel, that soulful feel that we look for in R&B music.
Right. That's absolutely right, bro. Like again, the 80s and 90s, that was the peak period of R&B, and then like it was still present in the 2000s. And I think when hip hop started to become more integrated in in the music industry, and like a lot of people said like, "Hey, yo, we can make like proper money off of this." Like the 2010s, like to me, it's been like hip hop and rap. Like it's started to dominate, and like again, Afro beats started to come into play. So heck, even soca. Like I know a lot, soca dance hall. Like that has really increased over the last 5 years. Like R&B, it's there, but again, it's not the same amount of like impact it has. And I wonder, does it have to do with the star power, like the artists that are representing that banner of R&B today?
I wonder, for me personally, I think I'm starting to feel more and more that there's just a bit more of a blending of the genres happening more so now than ever. Because even in hip hop and R&B are a very blurry line today. Like you were saying, with the introduction of singing on tracks that Drake introduced, sorry, that really confused a lot of, like, the think of the amount of soft and sensual hip hop tracks that are out now
Right.
that really don't feel like that same kind of hip hop we used to listen to 15, 20 years ago. So
Exactly.
like, I think that's what I mean when I say there's a lot more competition for R&B. Even the star power, like, yeah, they don't really have that crossover power.
Mm-hmm.
If you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I feel like R&B has definitely been a huge foundation to other genres like hip hop,
Absolutely.
Afro. Like, listen, we can even go to other like stuff as well, like reggae, like even like some people say even rock. Like, there's so much avenues that R&B can just plug itself into, where it's like again, it becomes hard to define, the lines get blurred and everything. And again, I feel like from Diddy's take, like I was trying to figure out what does he mean. Like, does he actually mean star power? Because like, okay, let's look at it. We got like Whitney Houston, Prince, all these different people, Sade, and like there's a lot of names from the 80s to the 90s. Just like, yo, they were like at the top. Today, like, no disrespect, and like I'm not even trying to like cause any like drama or anything, but some people are just like, who do we got? Like, who do we got? I'm not sure that's what Diddy's thinking. Like, who do we really got? That's like really putting R&B on its back.
And I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's harder when, okay, so for me, when I think R&B, it's, you're right, it's harder to really classify one particular artist that I would say is sitting on top right now, or is pushing the genre forward in the mainstream.
Right.
um I think that has to do with the fact that we may just be moving away from traditional R&B sounds.
That is so true. Like, I'm gonna be honest. No, no, that what hit me right there. Cause like, let's be real. A lot of R&B albums today, it kind of combines different like modern R&B, some hip hop, especially when you hear it like you really break down instrumentals like the bass, the 808s and everything. They're literally like drum patterns that come from hip hop, and they're somehow in an R&B track. It's just kind of like, yeah, but this ain't like that true traditional R&B where like the instruments really play it. Like a factor is like maybe the guitar, like act like the actual percussion drums, not the ones that you get off of like loops or stuff.
It's almost like, I'm not sure that people are really having that same, like, this is just me talking at this point.
Right.
But from my personal experience, it doesn't seem like people have that same desire for love songs. I think that I think it yeah, so I think it has to do with a lot of where society is at as well, because we don't really have the same romantic perception of love as much as we may have had in the 80s and 90s. I think we have a lot more of a realistic and perception, with especially with like the hookup culture that we got going on. So I think the music just more reflects where we are at in that space too.
Yeah, and basically in short terms, this generation's toxic. I'm sorry.
The dating pool got pissy.
Nah, for real, bro. Like, I think, yeah, you're right. The culture has had a huge paradigm shift where it's just like tracks about just like, yo, like I'm about to do this to you. Just like the vulgar has become the new normal. And I'm not to say that it was never there. Like, yeah, it was there, but like somehow, like what you said, back in the 80s and 90s, there was still the aspect of like it's a love song. I legit feel today R&B artists are literally making tracks about I'm about to eat that pussy up. Or like I'm about to. It's just like, bro, like,
Listen, my brother. They had those back then too. They just weren't allowed to play them on the radio.
right. And again, sometimes it's like radio play. How much of the music are you hearing back then? And because like the today we live where music can be pushed out so easily, it's like that's all you hear. And I'm not even trying to like throw as a diss. That's just a fact. But I also think that there's ways to like take it and it doesn't sound like okay, it's like the same repetitive message of any other artist. It's like there's ways you can spin it. Like where does the artistry come out where it's like, oh, it's unique, oh, this and that, or like this is crazy. Like for real, like listen, I listened to this one artist. Her name is Anne-Marie, and I don't know what it is, but she does like give that like gives the vulgar comments and everything. But I don't know. It's just like maybe it's the beat she uses to her voice. It kind of speaks to me where it's like, yeah, this is different. Like this is different. I feel like for certain artists, it's just like, bro, I don't know. You play that shit to me, it's like I can't. I just can't.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I think I think a lot of music also, I think we may be in a bit of a stagnation period in terms of the development of music. I don't think that there's as much encouragement to innovate in the mainstream sphere. That being said, um, for those of us who are listening, look into what's her name? Cleo Soul. She is an amazing R&B
Yep.
artist.
Hmm.
Look into um, yeah, there's a bunch. I gotta pull them up before we get off. I'm gonna see who else we got.
Yeah.
Sir, he's an
Oh,
amazing
sir.
R&B artist.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um, Mustafa is a fantastic, outrageously fantastic R&B artist out of the GTA. We got a bunch. Listen, when I tell you that we have enough who are doing crazy innovative stuff.
Yeah, like there's a lot. I know there's Zen Soul, she's dope out of the community in
Mhm,
Jam
mhm.
Finch. Kibra, I love her. Like she really exudes that old vibe of like R&B.
If you're looking for that old R&B sound with that new school more inappropriate, or should I say daring lyrics, Fouché is fantastic.
Yes.
um her voice is completely angelic, and she'd be talking about "You're my slime." So I mean, what else do I have to say?
Yeah. There's another person I listen to. Her name is Umi. Oh my gosh. Like guys, Umi, go listen to her album, her recent album. I'm telling you, it's really great. There's like this one track, I don't know what it is, but it gives me 2010 vibes from the production
uh
standpoint. It's just like, bro, what the heck, bro? I can actually like slap it. It's like this is a bop.
Trust me. Even like there's even some other artists who may not be traditionally R&B artists who have complete albums that destroy things. Like for example, Chronix,
Yeah.
huge R&B artist with He's got a Good Vibrations. That's the name of the track. I can't, for some reason, the name of the band is escaping me for now. Let me see if I can find it here.
Yeah, man. No, for sure, for sure. Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff.
there,
The Free Nationals. There we go.
yeah.
Free Nationals.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot.
Yeah, and it's just sorry. I brought all that to say it just requires a bit more effort these days to find artists because the mainstream is more about catering a particular sound that they think will sell.
Yeah, it's all about like profits at the end. What's gonna get the most streams, the most clicks, and the most listens. So, and I feel like that's kind of me. It's not saying I won't listen to mainstream R&B or hip hop or anything, but I do more of an effort to listen to those that like that aren't trying to chase or like they're showing their artistry. They're putting in the effort. That's just me.
Word. And my actually, you know what? I just my number one, the person who I think is the greatest number one R&B artist of all time in this generation today is hands down Anderson Paak. Hands
Yo.
down.
You're definitely coming back. You're definitely coming back on the podcast for that one, eh? Let me listen.
Absolutely,
This
absolutely.
man is highly underappreciated. I swear, this man, he embodies that R&B with that like West Coast rap. It just it blends so well. It's like you know how everyone says Lil Wayne like that's the go-to for like hip hop features. Anderson Paak to
Word.
me is for R&B. I'm sorry, like
And
he
it's for more than just vocals.
it's
It's for
more.
way more than just vocals. He can do literally everything. You want him to produce, you want him to play an instrument, you want him to write. He can do everything top to bottom, back to front.
Yes, like I'm gonna be honest, and like y'all, this might be a hot take for everyone. If the whole Silk Sonic thing, that does not become a great album without Anderson Paak. I love Bruno Mars, he's great, but Anderson just adds something else to it. We're just like, bro,
I truly do believe that, like, no disrespect to take anything away from Bruno Mars, because I think he's also like easily top two, top three in the sphere. But I say, yeah, I think Anderson Paak is the special sauce to Silk Sonic.
absolutely,
When
absolutely.
I heard when I heard "Come Home" for the first time, I've
Yo,
never
with
in my
Andre
life,
3000.
it was on the radio, and I said, for the first time in my life, I said, I have to look out for this album. Not an Anderson Paak album. It's the first time I heard a track, and without having a specific fandom already set up for that artist, I said, I need to look out for this when it drops.
Yeah, and you
And only
know,
to find out, and sorry, go ahead.
no, like you know you get that feeling with an artist where like you listen to them and it's just like I have to stop and like either wait for the next album or go through all of the discography they've already done.
Mm-hmm. And once I actually got the album and realized that was only track one,
Yeah,
bro, bro,
it's a wrap.
I knew from that moment it was going to be the R&B artist of the year for 2019, and it ended up being our album of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was that good.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, I think overall, again, I think a lot of R&B artists, some of them just don't put that much effort. And not to say they don't want to put effort, but again, sometimes with mainstream R&B, it's about getting those streams, getting those listens, so to maximize their own value. So, I mean,
Like, bro, we got a whole Silk Sonic album, and Diddy saying R&B's dead. That came out less than a year ago.
it did. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Okay, so like I know we were going into, but since we're speaking on Silk Sonic, like a lot of people like love the album, like I did too. But I know a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, this is nothing more than a ploy of like nostalgia because it brings back that '70s, '80s groove to it." And just like, and people are gonna forget this album like in the next couple of months.
I say that those people don't, either they don't understand or they don't appreciate proper production.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of instrumental work that went into that album that does not go into albums anymore. So
Yeah,
you can't merely call that a nostalgic pull when the skills and talents required to make that kind of track are rare in today's time. It's like what he and what Anderson and Bruno did on that album is very, very, very hard to recreate.
absolutely, absolutely, and because okay, I will say, do I listen to the album religiously? No, I don't. But trust me, anytime that comes on my playlist, it just makes me think like, damn, why? I'm not saying we need to see this all the time, but damn, I wish some artists did something like that. Like here's another example, and I might get a lot of hate for this. Tory Lanez tried to do something similar with his Alone at Prom album, and I just felt like that was a complete.
I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I was not. It's just like,
I
dude,
wasn't a fan.
that's how you do something wrong. Silk Sonic did it right, but you did it wrong, my boys. I'm sorry, Tory. Like,
To speak more to what you were saying, like yeah, to speak more to that point that you were making, um there's a track called Love's Train by a band called Confunction. It's a track that came out back in the 80s. It's very heavy on the synth, on the electronic sounds as was popular during the time, but it's super duper soul. Like I'm talking similar vein to, if you haven't heard the song, similar vein to a lot of Bobby Caldwell tracks, like What You Won't Do for Love, like that kind of super duper soulful track.
right.
And Silk Sonic recreated it using instruments,
Mm-hmm.
analog. And that I thought was amazing because typically what you see is artists will take an instrumental track and flip it to a digital, or will update it to a digital um, framework more similar to what we have today.
Right.
But they kind of went backwards. They
Mm-hmm.
took that digitized song and arranged it and composed it using instrumentation.
Yeah, they extracted it in a way. So,
Is yeah, it's a really, like, for people who are interested in studying music, it's a really cool comparison to 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 look at, considering which one actually came first.
yeah, man, absolutely, absolutely. Nah, man, this was a
Sorry,
really
that's just my
no. That was perfect. I think that's like a great way to kind of like sum up everything as a whole. So, final verdict, Diddy, that's an L take. You're wrong. I'm sorry.
pack them up.
Pack him up, get him out of here, bro.
Yeah,
Anyway,
man.
but that's pretty much it. Darryl, thank you for coming on for the first part of this new series we're doing. Thank you for coming on the Safe Room overall, man.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I appreciate it. This was fun.
Yeah, man, this was fun.
I don't usually get to nerd out about music that often, so
Hey, look, listen.
any opportunity I get.
Hey, and if it's something where like maybe you become like a regular for these series, like I'm down.
Hey, I love my music.
Yeah, bro. Hey,
So
hey, that's what's
listen.
up. That's what's up. So where can everyone find you on social media? Because I know we didn't get the chance to go
Yes.
through your thing, so maybe you can go over what you do right now just to wrap things up.
No problem. Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, I run a YouTube channel called the Recovering Elitist, where I do media breakdowns. So, excuse me. So, what that means is I make video essays about shows that I like to watch, namely anime, sometimes video games, and I just kind of break them down into character analyses, scene breakdowns, anything that I found interesting and want to talk about and nerd out about. I basically spend 5 to 10 minutes doing that. So if you're interested, check me out. I'm on YouTube under the same name. You can find me on Twitter under the same name as well, and Instagram, The Recovering Elitist.
Perfect, perfect. Listen, I've been watching a lot of video essays, so like I'm definitely gonna check your channel out. Like I love when people go into deep detail of like characters, or it's from shows, movies, video games. Like I don't know, that gets me hype in some way.
Yeah, it's something I really enjoy doing, and I've been having a lot of fun since I started.
Yeah, man. Just continue what you're doing, man. You're doing some amazing stuff.
Appreciate it, my man.
All right.
And yeah, you got some fantastic work going on here as well.
Yeah, man. Appreciate. So, guys, that's about it. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Safe Room Podcast. Make sure you follow me on the Safe Room Official on Instagram, the Safe Room Pod on Twitter. We're back on Twitter. We're trying to be a little bit more active, and soon to be, we're going to be back on TikTok. But you can check me out on TikTok, TSR Podcast. Also, we're working on something special right now. So if you're someone who is interested in learning about podcasting, maybe as like a skill or such, we're working on, this idea of maybe developing a workshop, maybe a couple of series and everything, session series. So again, if you're listening, you can hit me up on Instagram and we can go over if you're interested, and yeah, we can just chat it up. And again, we're going to be looking to do this series more often, so I'm going to hold myself accountable to that, because I want to make sure I get more people like Darryl to come and have these fun conversations. And again, it's not just for music, sports conversations. So Darryl, I don't know if you're a sports head, but if you want to come on for that as well, that'd be dope.
You can figure something out.
Yeah, for sure. But again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.